Ken and Amber.
You guys look great, by the way.
How are you doing?
Oh, hey.
Especially Amber.
Oh, you're
Like,
so
she's
sweet.
such
You
a
look
pretty
amazing,
woman.
too. Thank you.
So,
We're glad you guys came on the podcast. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. We've known you all for a little while, and I kind of, well, there's a couple different things that we want to kind of touch on. One of the main things that I think would help potentially our listeners is talking about what it's like coming into a relationship for a second time, having kids from a previous marriage, that kind of thing, and then making it work, like getting it right the second time, because not everybody, even if we hit our goal of reducing the divorce rate by 30%, there's still going to be 15 to 20% of people out there that that just got married too young or got in it for the wrong reasons or whatever. So,
and statistically speaking, after your first marriage, the chances that any subsequent marriages are going to work, your statistics get way worse.
Is that really true?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, but hang on, back up for a minute. Pat, is it your stated goal to reduce the divorce rate by 20%?
30. Well,
30%.
no, so it's over 50 now. It's like 60. It's ridiculous. We'll just call it 55. But we think that if people put into a little more effort and if they kind of learn some of the things that we've learned and a lot more out there that is to be learned, that they could take that number down significantly. It's just, I mean,
We believe that most marriages can last, but obviously there are exceptions. We just believe that if you work enough on yourself and you work enough in the relationship and you hang on through the hard parts, because they're going to be hard parts, we think that people can make it.
and you understand that Hollywood's full of shit and it's not all, butterflies and
Boning.
yeah, butterflies and boning. So, because a lot of people, we're sold on, from an early age that it's happily ever after, and happily ever after comes with a lot of work and various stages of love, and the relationship can get a lot better and a lot stronger. I mean, the crazy mad love that we get jammed down our throat all the time and our kids get jammed down their throat is what relationships are like in the beginning, but it's not sustainable.
The stuff gets in the way.
It's not the stuff. It's just that the relationship evolves. But if you're constantly looking for that new butterfly, mad love, and you get tired in your relationship after 2 years, then, you're going to become one of the casualties, one of this 55%. So
You make it through and there's something much deeper on the other side.
Thank you for saying that. We couldn't agree with you more.
yeah. So that being said, yeah, I think we could put a big dent in the divorce rate.
Yeah. So talk about you guys. Talk about your experience with what we're talking about.
Well, sure. So
Tell the story.
We've been married now since 2013, so a little over 6 years. Dated for a couple years prior to that. Both came out of marriages that were, I had 2 kids from my first marriage, 2 amazing, wonderful kids. I was married to a great girl, but I got married for all the wrong reasons. I would be one of the people that statistically should not stay married. Because honestly, I mean, hell, my ex broke up with me 3 times when we were dating because I was in love with someone else. And yeah, so she was like, hey, no, we're breaking up with you. You're still in love with this other girl. And it truly was a rebound relationship for me. And I actually came to the decision that she, my ex, deserved me. That's what a pompous jackass I was, that felt like I was so great and she deserved someone like me. So I should be with her. And we ended up convincing her of that. And we ended up getting married. And it was just for the wrong reason. She was a great woman, is a phenomenal mother of my children. And fortunately, when we got divorced, she had the emotional intelligence to really want to look for what's right for the kids and how we could do best by our children as co-parents, right? It's like, hey, if we're going to be divorced, let's not be that statistic that is just bitter and angry and at each other. And I give her an amazing amount of credit for that, so that as we've co-parented, and it hasn't all been, roses and butterflies right there. There have been rocky moments in our relationship, and certainly tenuous moments in the three of ours relationship. But overall, Melissa has been an incredibly open person as far as her own just emotional intelligence and willingness to be a friend. In fact, she's dated. She's babysat our 3-year-old on a couple of occasions.
I was a little scared about that. Yeah. So when we had Kai.
So now you guys have your own kids. I mean,
yeah,
we're
so
kind of like in the middle of the story.
Yeah. So now we have Kai. He's 3.5 years old now. And, when we found out we were pregnant, I basically told everybody, I said, look, I don't ever want Kai to think that he can't go over to Melissa's house and hang out and spend the night with his brother and sister. That just was not going to cut it. And so, we all had a conversation about, we wanted that to be a fluid relationship between everybody. And so as time progressed, I actually think Kai brought our unit of the 5 of us much closer together once he was born, because how can you not love that guy, so I guess, I don't know, he was like maybe a month or 2 year old, and Melissa was like, hey, let me take him off your hands and let him come over here so y'all can sleep. And I was like, are you not gonna put him in the dryer and turn the dryer on or anything like that? I was a little freaked out at first, But, he loves his Melly, and he's back and forth all the time. And she and I have got a great relationship. We text almost every week. If we're texting about something, sometimes we make fun of Ken. A lot of times it's just, other stuff that we've got going on, coordinating kids and coordinating other stuff. So it's been a great fluid relationship between everybody. So
nice.
The coordination of kids. There's so much that needs to be done between father and mother on things, even when you're exes. And I've got so many friends that are divorced and are in just bitter relationships. I have one of my buddies one of his kids won't talk to him because the mom has just poisoned that relationship right there.
But you know that your dynamic is definitely in the minority.
I know 100%.
But how much work did you have to do to make it work? In other words, so you were very intentional when you got divorced, and then because at the end of the day, not anybody, there's probably a small percentage that can't ever make it work. But I would say that practically anybody can do the same thing if they just work at it, right?
Well, you guys have been through a lot of the training and read the books and gone through your own personal work, right? When you can look inside yourself and realize that wherever there's problems, you probably get your DNA all over it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can start to, I think, have the self-reflection that at least part, if not a large part of the problem was you or your decisions or your actions, I think that alone goes a long way to start to bridge the gap, is acknowledging your own issues rather than placing blame on someone else. However, that doesn't always happen with 2 people at the same time, right?
Usually it doesn't, right? Usually one
person
person is doing that and the other person's still blaming. But I will say, though, I still believe that even just one person taking that step takes things to a place where, when you're talking about people that are divorced and trying to mechanically manage kids and schedules and things like that. I think even just one person working on that takes it so far that becomes easier.
I think it helps, and it's the olive branch, and that olive branch sometimes helps the other person. It might take a little bit of time, but the other person to come around and then start to look at their own self in the mirror and say, maybe I had a little something to do with that issue as well. And that's part of what happened with us. We went through counseling when we got divorced, and we went through, marital counseling as we were getting divorced, and then we went through family counseling with the kids as well.
That's
and
great.
I can't say enough about that process, because having that third party there that could just you independently ask the questions and get us to be transparent about feelings and thoughts and where we were, I think that helped a lot. So I highly recommend that to people.
Is that something that you had to do as part of the divorce process in Texas, or was that just something you guys decided to do yourselves?
No, it was something we wanted to do for the kids. Before we made the decision to get divorced, said, all right, well, let's go through counseling. Let's not just throw in the towel. Let's go through counseling and see what it is in our relationship that's not working. And that helped. I think that helped me to open up and be honest and transparent about really what my feelings were and what they had been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helped me to just understand exactly where I was at a deeper level. And then the counseling with the kids, though, it helped a lot for us to go through that process.
That's very cool.
So having, did your ex-wife remarry also, or no?
Not yet. She's been in a few different relationships. She's been in one right now for
quite a while.
Over a year, maybe 2 years now.
Okay.
So it's been in a pretty serious relationship.
Which he thinks this whole thing is really odd. So he's divorced and he has kids, and he doesn't get it. Like, she has told me, Steve, he's not comfortable. Like, he doesn't get how we manage all of this.
Yeah, we haven't even met him.
I met him once. No, I met him once at a drive-by, so I'm stopping. So
you did a drive-by.
Drop off kids and stuff. But so he thinks it's really that we're all freaks.
The reason I asked the question, though, is so you have three parents effectively in the relationship, and oftentimes when parents separate, divorce, get split up, there's another parent involved. The kids, especially when they're a little bit older, start to figure out ways or try to, and it sounds to me like you probably headed this off pretty early, but of manipulating, they can see, oh, I can play dad against mom against dad, Amber against, so
we've nipped that big time. In fact, the three of us, Melissa, Amber, and I, communicate pretty regularly, sometimes on a group text about specific things. And and we really haven't had any major issues. Grace and Knox are such great kids and have got such a solid foundation that we've never really had a huge situation where, that it's been out of control or something.
Right.
How old are they?
Grace is 16, Knox is 15, and Kai is 3.
Yeah. So they're definitely in the range of super naughty.
Yeah. And it's more of what we've had to nip in the bud is more of the attitude.
Yeah.
Needing a little bit of an attitude adjustment is more of what we've had to deal with versus, oh, well, I'm going to go play mom and dad against each other, or Amber and mom against each other, or something like that. So it's been more little tweaks in attitudes than anything.
Sure.
I would think so.
And it's usually the opposite. I'd say that, honestly, if I'm getting attitude or I'm getting problems, I'm usually calling Melissa like, hey, your son's got a problem. Right? Or she'll do the same with me, right? She'll call and vent and be like, I'm about to wring this kid's neck. And so it works well. And this has been a process, right? We've the three of us have had sit downs and we've talked about, how we feel things should work as parents, how we feel rules should be with the kids. And so as great as it is right now, it's been a process through this, and we've not always seen eye to eye on things. But that's
no parents always do, right?
No parents
as a married
right?
couple, you still look at your partner and go, "What the fuck are you doing? I do not agree with what you're saying, how you're acting, what you're doing right now." Like it happens in any.
Well, it happens in our relationship, and it's like
for the first 10 years of our marriage, Sam and her sister used to say, as soon as our kids turn 18 or 19 or they get to college, they were going to get them a fake ID and take them to the bar. And I was like, what's the matter with you? They gotta scrounge and find their own fake ID like I did.
And hide it from me, right? Act like that's a bad thing.
Anyway, we got away from that one, but there was 10 years of our relationship where that was the plan. Well, I disagreed with it, but
with the kids playing the parents off each other, I honestly, so I've watched this in a number of relationships, and I don't think that I don't think they're intentionally trying to be that way or play them off each other. I think it's a subconscious thing where they get some kind of weird, strange gratification from doing that. Like, I don't see them like thinking
I think they, in those situations, I think that they learn that as a learned behavior by watching their parents interact together.
That's a good point.
And we don't do that.
No,
it's
absolutely.
just, and so I feel like a lot of that may be learned behavior from the parents because the parents aren't getting along and the parents are playing the kids against each other,
Yeah.
Kids are smart.
I've seen that too. Yeah, I've seen that too.
That one's the one given.
Yeah. Kids
they
are
always
smart.
know way more than you think they do.
And they will figure out, I don't even think it's always about playing each other against each other as it is figuring out, how do I get what I want?
Exactly.
Right? The kids just figuring out, how do I get what I want? And I'm more likely to get it because dad's a softie on this issue or mom on this one. So
yeah. Well, I applaud your freakness, according to whoever, right? That you guys are freaky, that the three of you get along, and that you're having conversations, because I don't know a better way to have a family, a family organization where you've split from one partner, have a new partner, and you still allow both parents to be the parents.
Yeah.
I just can't. And what's funny is all the people that we've come on these podcasts that have mixed families, they have the same story. Like, we get along with, we get along with our exes. So there's something to be said about that, because these are also the people who have happy, well-adjusted, healthy relationships.
That is the important thing. So we watched the movie E.T. last night. Okay, I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, sweet!
I hadn't seen it. Kai hadn't seen it, and I was like, "Let's watch something different." I'm tired of Jurassic Park every single freaking night.
E.T. Phone Home.
Yeah.
So we watched E.T. Phone Home, and I hadn't seen that movie in a long time. And the mom in there has these 2 or 3 kids right there, and the kids are the 3 kids are unruly and rambunctious, and
she's going through a divorce.
She's divorced or going through divorce, and has a terrible relationship with her ex right there. And I actually made the comment to Amber. I'm like, look how bad those kids are. It's parenting, right? I'm pointing to her. I'm like, it's her parenting and the way she's doing things.
I'm like, it's a movie. E.T., it's a movie.
Yeah, but it's a script probably based on someone's real life and how things have unfolded, right?
Well, I look at it as, I'm a child of the 70s, and that was how we were, like, everyone I knew, that's how we were raised, by single moms, divorced, with bad relationships with their ex-husbands. And that was my entire childhood.
Weren't we called the latchkey kids or something like that?
It was exactly the latchkey kids. And the latchkey part is because, parents are never around back then too, because they were single moms, working moms. Yeah. Parents were never around. We had no supervision. Just did whatever we wanted. And
yep. We had to carry keys around our necks so we could get into our homes that were locked.
But we never wanted to be in the house. That was the other thing, though. That's what made it work.
We were out riding back bikes, cruising the neighborhood, causing problems,
breaking windows.
All that good stuff.
Oh boy.
So tell me about you all. You all have been together. How long have you been together now?
So we've been together for 13 years.
Okay. And what do you think took Ken so long to ask you to marry him?
Oh, we wanted to be debt free. That was the big thing. That was the big thing. Yeah, we wanted to be debt free before we got married. So we had a lot to accomplish in a short period of time.
And how's that working out for you? Because we had a little conversation before we kicked this podcast off. It doesn't sound like you're debt free anymore.
Now we've got all these businesses we're launching, so it's a whole new deal there. But prior to getting married, we had a ton of personal debt.
Yeah.
And when we got engaged, we looked at that. We had $350,000 in personal debt. We were living in an apartment. There was no mortgage in that.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big number. And
we lived in an apartment for 5 years with the kids and the dog and the cat and the other animal.
Paying off your debt. So took 5 years to knock out the 350?
2 years.
2
years to the month. Yeah, from the time we identified it, and we read Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, and like, ooh, we got a real problem here. And we followed his plan. We put the debt snowball up on the refrigerator for everyone to see. And every time we paid off that little debt, we cross it off and write down the date we paid it off. And it kept going. And literally for 2 years, it's like the kimonos lifted. Anyone could see our world that came into the house. And we scaled our business quite a bit from, that was
2012.
So 12 to 4, I guess we got married in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So we got married, right. Yeah. So we started that process of paying off debt in 2012, got married in 2013. At 2014, we had it all paid off. So we scaled the business quite a bit, which gave us the income to pay off all that debt. And then we were just pouring that money right back into paying debt. And it was a pretty cool feeling to.
Yeah. We wanted to be going into this second phase of our life, per se, debt-free, because we knew that finances and money can be such a burden on the family and marriages. And so that was really important to us that, we didn't have that burden. So we already had the other stuff with the blended family and the ex-wife and, starting new businesses and everything. So that was vital that was a top priority for us.
That is beautiful intention. And then, what else I love about paying off debt, especially as a couple, is it teaches you the discipline you need so that when you have money that you don't go blow it again. And I just think now you maybe are saving it. I just think it teaches such great discipline.
Well, there's two kinds. There's also two kinds of debt. There's personal debt, which is bad. And then there's investment or business debt, which
sometimes is bad.
Well, if you do, depending on how you do it. But I mean, for example, Ken, you and I think alike on this one. We could pay off our house, but I would rather carry a mortgage that has a comfortable mortgage payment and use the money that I would pay the house off with by investing it in other ways to make that money go to work for me.
Well, it's just a numbers game, right? You're paying 4% on a mortgage, but I can make 20% on that money easily with a good investment. So it's just, it's a given. It's just always when you're investing, there's a risk factor.
But personal debt,
personal debt, bad, and that was all personal debt.
It's a one-way.
Personal debt,
It sucks. It sucks in only one direction.
Credit card and student loans.
It's not like a double-ended dildo at all.
No.
No.
Oh shoot! Oh wait, no.
There's no reach around on that one.
No reach around. Double-ended dildo. That's pleasure for everybody, or
we had to get into the
sex
good stuff.
talk.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, and we were going to, so you've got a minimum of 3 different plates going. When you talk about scaling your business,
you're talking about real estate, right?
You're a successful commercial real estate and residential, or just commercial?
Both today. At that time, it was all commercial. Today, we do both commercial, and Amber's in the residential real estate business too.
And you guys are working together. Mm-hmm. And have worked together for
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have do that. So how is that going?
I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't get to see him every single day of every hour of every day. I would go bananas. No.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's I feel like that. Good. I feel like that too, honey.
Yeah.
Now, it's a lot of people say that, like, how do you deal with that? I couldn't work side by side with my wife, and it works really well for us. It has, since she was in the banking business before she got in real estate, and she's a great networker and a great business development person. And so when she came to work in the commercial real estate world with me, it was phenomenal, because I don't like mixing and mingling and small talk and that junk. And she's great at that. So we made a really good partnership and team. And, if I put a spreadsheet in front of her, she's like, what the fuck is that?
I'm always like, can you help me with this? I thought you were going to say that, how spreadsheets turn me on.
Well, they do. She likes watching me work spreadsheets.
Super hot.
So
it depends on what kind of graph you use, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Is that an XY axis right there?
That's a fun fetish. Is it because it's, he's so smart and sexy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. You want to watch this formula?
It was interesting. I found a quote today, and it was something along the lines of, find that relationship that you're super secure and safe in. And I think that's what I found with Ken. And so being able to be in the same working environment where things can be so crazy and you just need to be able to go in and bounce something off of him, whether it's advice or just a vent. Oh my God, I've got this horrible client I'm working with. You know, we're able to, in a safe and secure environment, be able to know that we can do that with each other. So that brings a lot of comfort. At least it does to me, knowing that. So, you know, that's one reason why I love to work with him.
Nice. Well, I think also you mentioned something, or you hinted at it, and I agree 100% with it. I was actually one of the people who said I could never, ever work with Sam. We're so different. You know, I'm Mr. Laid Back entrepreneur guy. She's
I'm
the
a fucking
corporate
bitch.
She's the corporate, like chopping, you know, the queen of hearts of the corporate world or whatever the mean one was. I never read Alice in Wonderland. Anyway,
I'm fucking bitch.
yeah, the bitchy one. But my business got to a place where I looked at it and I thought, you know what, everything that's wrong with my business is all the stuff Sam's good at. You know, I keep people around too long. I don't fire them. You know, we're unorganized. We don't have any standard operating. We don't have any SOPs written. I mean, all these things.
Your finances were a mess.
My finances were great until I realized that, according to my bookkeeper,
you had money, but going into your books was like
according to my bookkeeper, we owed our clients
Yeah.
$50,000. These are paying clients. So it's like, that shouldn't be accurate. We don't owe anybody any money.
Yeah, the accounts receivables were negative. I mean, it was a mess. So
anyway, so putting my ego aside and recognizing her strengths helped us through, I'd say 98% of it. Of course, we had 2% where we butted heads and things along those lines. And I know Sam like bit her tongue and took more of a back seat than she probably normally would have. But I think between we made it work. And now, like you said, we work with each other every single day. We do this podcast, but we also have several investments that we're working on. And I mean, I have a consulting business Sam does the books for. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff like that we still work together. We work together.
We spend every moment of every day together.
What we did find out is that he can't be my accountability partner. That's like, no.
We can't do that either.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
No.
Even though I ask her sometimes, I'm like, maybe if you just ask me this way, and then she asks me that way, and I'm like, why are you nagging me?
Yeah.
That's what you told me to say.
We're the same way.
I didn't say it like that.
We've tried that, and it also does not work for us. Absolutely.
Like, hey, if you want to do it, go get with your girlfriends or get with some accounting partner or hire a coach, whatever you want. It's just not going to be me because that just doesn't work out really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so funny you say that because it's exactly the same with us.
Mostly my style too. I'm kind of like hey, you gonna eat that? I thought you said this was a healthy eating week.
Yeah. Well, you just do that because as soon as she puts it in her mouth, then you're going over the falls too. You're like, all right, well, fuck it, give me some. I thought we weren't going to drink this week, but if you're having a beer, I guess I'll have two.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're horrible accountability partners.
Yeah.
That's why we suck at it as well.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get around to your legacy of love. Let's talk about it. I don't know anything about it. Paddy told me that you've done this cool app and it's a journaling. So just get into it because I don't know anything about it, and our audience doesn't either.
Well, I do want to talk about that, but I wanted to build into it. This is why we should probably
go ahead.
Well, and so the other thing we talked about. So you've got your brokerage, you've got your you also have a couple of major investments coming. You started like a laundromat business or something. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're under construction at the moment for our first of what we believe will be many laundromats. So we're building one in West Texas, out in Abilene, Texas. And I've got two really cool, awesome partners on this. And all of us are capitalist pigs, but we're also we're also a bit altruistic and kind of mission driven. And so it's not just about money for us. None of us were just jazzed about getting into the laundromat business. But as we started thinking through what a business could look like, we came up with this business plan to have a laundromat with a mission. And so our mission with the name is Laundry Love, LUV. So Laundry Love, and our mission is to improve the lives of the customers that come into our store and the communities in which we operate. So one of the ways we're doing that in our store, we're putting in a kids play area where in every one of our stores, there's look, most of the people washing laundry, it's moms and women in there washing laundry. And I've been in many through market research. And I see these little kids just bored out of their minds, sitting on benches or running around, open up all the washer doors. And so we've got a kids play area in all of our laundromats. We've got outside of it a literacy area with books where kids can sit and read. We've got large picnic table areas inside of the laundromat where families can sit down and sit together or order a pizza and sit there and eat together while their laundry's being done.
Nice.
We've got TVs up on the walls that show nothing but positive programming. So no daytime TV, no news, no bullshit junk.
No Kardashians.
No Kardashians.
Karaoke.
Thank God, ever.
So what's
Karaoke?
Well, I could do that.
when we open up the Japanese version, yes, we'll have karaoke on.
So wait, so what do you do when you roll into your laundromat? Like, is there a staff at the place?
Yeah. So it's staffed. Every one of our locations. So that they're large locations. We're 5,000 to 7,000 square foot locations. So our first one is 6,200 square feet. They're very well lit. They're safe. They're secure. There's security cameras out there, and we have there'll be between 1 and 3 employees there at any given time.
So you don't have to worry about rolling in there and there's like a sketchy guy laying on the picnic table with a magazine over his junk while he washes all his clothes.
As one of the important roles of our staff, right, is to protect the security and safety and comfort level of our guests right there.
All right. Perfect. Nice. So you've got that going, which is a huge endeavor, and I love it.
Love it. LUV.
Yeah.
LUV it. Perfect.
You still have your brokerage going, and you've been working on an app, a journaling app, which we're going to get into now. Sorry, babe. I just needed to digress.
No, it's great.
But before we get into the journaling app, tell me about how spinning all these different plates, running in all these different directions. I mean, I can see your hair's thinning already. We talked about that earlier.
And the kids and the ex.
What does that do with like the sex life and the relationship? Is because I know the more stressed I get, the more it affects my libido, and maybe I'm a little shorter with Sam than I should be. And tell me about how that dynamic works for y'all.
Yeah, more than anything, it's the kids that affect the libido. I mean, honestly, the businesses are a lot, but the 3-year-old demands a lot
from
Amber, right? And I'll walk in the door, and it's so funny. He'll run around the corner. He's like, "Yay!" And he looks up and he goes, "I thought you were mommy."
Oh!
And he'll turn around and walk away. Like, he cannot be more than like 2 feet away from her. He loves her so much. And just this morning, I swear, if he said it once, he said it 100 times. "Mommy, I need you." Mommy,
That's his word. That's his word. Yeah. That's his sentence. "Mommy, I need you."
I need you. And I mean, he loves her, and I'm so happy that he does love her. But that sucks a lot of energy.
Yeah, sometimes I just need to make a trip to Target for like 2 hours just to walk around. You get it, right?
Yeah, and not have not have somebody touch you like.
Yes, you just want to go and look around, and I'm like, I just got to go to Target, and Ken's like, I don't understand. Why do you have to go to Target?
Happened does the same thing. You guys could totally relate on that one.
Every wife, mom loves to go to Target to just walk around with their latte and not have to answer to anybody.
So I don't actually like to go to Target, but I do need space, and so I like go for a hike or a walk or whatever. Yeah. And the shopping thing though, actually I read this study about how women were very attuned to, we're gatherers, by nature, by whatever that's called, and shopping is one of those things that brings out that that makes us feel comfortable, the gathering.
It's not even the shopping. It's just,
you don't even have to buy anything. It's just window shopping can really calm women. It's just part of our nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And also, that just for the record, that is what hiking is in Dallas. You go to a mall or a Target.
Oh, I guess I didn't think about
We're not
that.
in Dallas. Take that
I
back.
know you're outside of it. I'm just teasing.
We're in Fort Worth, and there actually are trails and whatnot to
I
hike
know.
and do
I'm
stuff.
just teasing.
He's just being an ass because we always we like the mountains.
So we like to tell
Mountains.
stories about how we make time for, that stuff. There's a ton of people that can probably relate to, having a 3-year-old that is reducing your intimacy window by 92%. You know what I mean? So
Well,
how do you make it work?
getaways, like we were in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, had 4 or 5 days in Vegas together, and that was like little rabbits. So it was,
That's only a 6-hour drive for us. We could have totally come down, but nobody invited us.
I think I put something out on the Go Wives. Who wants to join us in Vegas?
so
I'm
they're-
not on the Go Wives page.
I am, but I'm terrible at Facebook.
yeah. So it's getaways for the most part.
Especially like when he, like I'll surprise him with little things. Like when, for instance, I think it was the Vietnam trip when you were gone for 2 weeks.
Who was my roommate on that trip?
Oh,
Yeah.
Pat.
He left his phone out when he was in the shower, and
That's
some of the
like, hey,
pictures.
thanks
came
for
out.
that.
You're welcome.
You're a better wife than I am. I don't think we even talked.
No, you sent me that awesome letter. I still have it.
Oh yeah, I put the letter in your bag. Oh,
Yeah.
see, I did something nice.
So so I surprised him at a cheap motel when he got back. And so we'll do surprise things like that, go off for a night at the Omni or whatever, just to get away, go to the ranch.
And who takes Kai when you
You
guys
haven't
are doing
done goat yoga yet, I bet.
Not goat yoga yet.
I've done goat yoga.
She's done it once.
I've done it.
But we didn't do it at goat yoga.
That would be strange.
We were supposed to meet at goat yoga once. That's the only reason I brought it up. All right. So
So we have a nanny, baby
Perfect.
yeah,
person that stays.
cool.
That's great.
Cool. So tell us now. Let's get into the legacy of love. This is one of the cooler things out there that I've heard about in the last few years. When I was with Ken, we went on it's a men's mastermind group that we're a part of, and we went on an international trip to Vietnam. And as he said, we were roommates, and every day Ken would probably spend at least 45 minutes to an hour journaling. And a lot of the journaling he was doing was writing about his experiences to his kids. And he had this idea that he wanted to leave each of his kids, a journal so that they could read and kind of learn as you get older and you can appreciate it more. All of his memories are now down on paper, and they could go back and kind of live through it with their dad. But you're taking that to another level. Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, it started much like you're talking about. It started so Grace, who's now 16, she was 1 year old, and Knox, who's 15, he was in the womb. And I started trying to figure out, what am I going to do for my kids to make an impact in their lives long term, right? And certainly I want to be a great dad. I'd had lots of advice from lots of people of, treasure every moment and slow down and just savor the moments. You never let a day go without telling your kid you love them. And I've employed all of that at a high level. I thought, what else can I do? And my attorney had given me an idea way back when. He said, in his family, he had 2 small boys, and they shot a ton of video. This is early 2000s, right? I didn't have a video camera nor know how to edit video. But this is what he did. They shot a lot of video. At the end of each year, he would, for each boy, take 1 minute of video per month, splice it together on a DVD, put music to it, and give a 12-minute This Is Your Life in 2003 DVD. And I thought that was an epic, brilliant idea. But again, this is way, way pre-iPhone days. I was like, well, what can I do since I don't do that? And I thought, I can write. I'm a decent writer. I like to write. I can journal to my kids. And then I just made a decision, do I do it on paper or do I do it digitally? I think fortuitously, I made the decision to do it in a digital format. So I started just in a Word doc is what I did. And I started writing just the little things about the kids' development. And mostly it's just me gushing on how awesome and beautiful they were and how cute they are and the little things. And I just did it once a month was my commitment. I didn't want to try to overwhelm myself. I said, what can I do that I'll stick to, right? A daily commitment was it did not feel realistic. Even a weekly commitment wasn't realistic. I thought I can do once a month. And now it's been 16 years that I have written at least once a month. I mean, there have been months where I've missed, but on average, I've written at least 12 times a year to each kid. These days, I'm almost once a week these days. I'm just trying to capture more and leave more for them. But I did it in a Word doc for years. And then eventually I decided, ooh, you can put pictures in a Word doc. And so I started inserting pictures into it. In 2012, I started using Evernote, and I transferred kind of the process to Evernote. And over the years, I told dozens and dozens of parents about this, and just encourage them to do something like that on their own for their own kids. And a bunch of parents had started doing it, and that really warmed my heart that so many parents were like, "Oh my God, that's such a brilliant idea! I'm going to start doing that." And then more and more folks started encouraging me. They said, "Ken, you should actually do something with that idea. That's a damn good idea. Create something with it." I frankly just had too much going on with new businesses and different things. I wasn't in the place in my life where I could take action on it. And eventually, though, I started getting worried. I was like, what if someone else does this? I'm going to freak out. And in any case, I had an opportunity to go to a private mastermind through GoBundance with Jeff Hoffman, and founder of Priceline. And I had an opportunity to visit with Jeff about the idea, and he encouraged me. He said, "Ken, that sounds like a damn good idea. You should really take action on it." So I did, and that was December 2017, I guess. So for the last year and a half, I've been working from the design and development standpoint on this product. We started development about 6 or 8 months ago. We went live with our website. It's cross-platform. So we went live with a website in February, and we just went live in the last few weeks with our iOS and Android, iPhone, and tablet apps. So now we have a fully functional cross-platform digital platform, a place for people to capture memories, leave lessons, take photos or videos, voice notes. One of the coolest things you can do in here is forward and save a voicemail. So think about when your kids were little bitty and they would leave you those sweet little, "Hi, Mom, I miss you so much." Leave you those little sweet voicemails. And now, Knox used to leave me the sweetest voicemails. Now he's 15.
Now he doesn't talk.
Now he's 15 and he never talks, right?
Well, of course not.
And he would call and leave me the sweetest voicemails. And I tried to save some. I saved some for a long time, and eventually they're just gone, right? I have no idea where they are. They're lost in digital land somewhere. But now with our program, we've created a place where you can save that kind of stuff. And then you can write about what it meant to you on that shitty day that you had to get that sweet little voicemail from your son or daughter, and how it just changed everything and changed your perspective. And that's what I do. I'll try to just write my perspective on their lives. And again, now it's been a 16-year journey. And so my intent all along was that it was going to be very private. I wasn't planning on creating a product with it. It was just going to be a private process, and I was going to give it to each child at their high school graduation. Be 18 years of your life through my eyes. And that's still what I'm going to do. They obviously know that I am journaling to them now, because I have this product that we're attempting to get millions of subscribers to. So they know about it, but they've never read or seen any of the journals. And it's going to be my gift to them at their high school graduation. It's just a storyline of our lives and their life and what they've meant to me.
So,
wow.
I
wish that someone told me that. Oh my God, Jake's going to be 26.
Yeah.
I needed that 27 years ago.
Well, back then you had your baby book that you never filled out,
Yeah.
And so
I have empty baby books.
Yeah.
And I have journals actually that he's found, but and read. He's reading.
Yeah.
He's been reading my journals. I don't know what's in there though. It wasn't like intentional, like for the kids. It's just like my rambling about who knows what. Good God.
Yeah.
Old
My kids
boyfriend.
find some of my old journals that could be bad.
Yeah. Right. I know he did. He found one and he was like, "Mom,
You were a sleuth.
you were a slutty." He didn't say that.
Ken used to.
You, that's what you said, Pat.
Ken had all these journals that he kept like forever, and he would write in all this detail. So when we first started dating, I made him get out all those journals, and I had to read them all, and I was just consumed with them for like 2 weeks.
You read all his journals?
Well, he
So
gave them to
How
her.
many times he did the dirty? I mean, it was with who? I mean,
And how did that? Oh my God. So Pat read one of mine and wouldn't speak to me for like a week. And I was like, honey,
It was not.
that was when I was 18.
It was
Like,
not
come
that
on,
bad.
babe.
What?
It was pretty bad.
It was.
At the time, it seemed like
Yeah.
earth shattering because we were newlyweds. That was still like we were like madly in love. And then all of a sudden, you're being really mean to me.
Well, in her journal, she made it seem like she slept with this guy, and I'd already done the math. And I'm like, all right, well, who's this guy she didn't tell me about then? So, and why, I wonder. And, you know, this is back in my super insecure days.
He was very jealous.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that was
I
a
think-
disaster for us, but
Well, for me, I was in a place where I was not very jealous and I was very comfortable. And I was in my mid 30s. So I'm like, or late 30s. So I'm like, knock yourself out, read, you know, I mean,
Well,
this is
I
all in
even
my
would-
20s.
I was like, just, you know, had my glass of wine and I just start asking him questions. Well, what about this? And what about that? And
so you weren't jealous either. Cause like I would have said to Pat, yeah, you can read it if you want.
well, I don't know.
You had a few jealous moments,
I
a
did have a
few.
moment where I went up to his ex-girlfriend and said, oh, you're the famous.
Oh,
boy.
Amber.
I did. And then I got in
We're
trouble. I got in
Yeah.
trouble for that.
I mean,
That
we
makes
don't have
sense.
any like rating restrictions on our podcast, but we'll leave that part out. Just to protect the innocent. So let's get back to labor of love. That was cool. Legacy, I mean, sorry.
It is a labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for sure a labor, but it's just this process that's been a beautiful thing. So now that we've created, it's my gift to the world. So honestly, we created it as a free program, free app, free download, so that if someone has no money or no financial wherewithal, they can use this forever for free. And I just want this to be a gift. We have premium features it's a freemium. You can have a paid version if you want. But it's something that I told friends of mine when I started to develop it. I said, I'm going to develop this as my gift to the world. I think it will be such an attractive program to a lot of people that want, hey, I want these extra features. And I think it will be a phenomenal business. However, if it never was, and it just is my gift, then it's my gift.
Nice.
That's a lot, this podcast, a lot our book too, right? It was also a labor of love, and it is our legacy of love as well.
People keep asking us, you know,
oh yeah, you guys making
how are
bank?
book sales going, and
We're
what are
like,
you going to do to
well,
monetize your podcast?
give
Where do you want to
away-
go with that? And
We
like,
give
oh,
away a lot of books, and we can't be bothered with advertising for our podcast.
I mean, we have a bank account where the royalties for our book and Sam's album and all that goes, and it just doesn't grow very fast.
No, it's not growing very fast.
No,
It's all right though, because
I think it's
it's
more
also
expensive.
our gift, I think.
If you factor my dollar productive hours, it's more expensive for me to log in and look at that bank account balance.
Oh, but I think it's such a beautiful thing that, well, that you decided to give that to the world and that you're letting people have that for free. But what an awesome idea. And like I said, I needed it 27 years. Do you think it's too late?
No.
Well,
Me too.
no,
It's a draw
it's a
memory.
no and. Okay, I would say no and, because there's stories. Okay, so now the other awesome component of this is like the grandparent journal kind of component of it, right? Just now telling stories about your life to your children that they don't know. And you can do that from now until the time that you die. And when you die, this is there, and it's a written story of your life. And you can include pictures of your old friends and your relatives and all kinds of stuff, and just, you know, give the real texture behind the rest of your life. And not that you have to do it all the time, but they can just do it, you know, once, twice, you know, a couple times a month. And think of all the stories you would have for your kids and grandkids down the road that they would have never known about you.
It's
Yeah.
almost like,
There's so many places you could take this, really, right?
well, then there's like
Wow.
for example, joke retention for me is bad, right? I remember like 4 or 5 jokes and that's it. So that's why I have to make up a bunch of dumb
And they're
ones on
all
my own.
really dirty.
Anyway, but the story retention is real similar to that, in my opinion. Like, we remember a handful of stories, you know, about our kids, and obviously the older you get, you know, and you introduce a glass of wine, and next thing you know, you're telling the same story over again. But if you were to like sit down and take the time, going through a photo album and really focusing, I don't know, let's say you did it once a week for a year, you could probably come up with 20 or 30 stories about each kid that you didn't remember,
Oh, yeah.
or that you didn't tell them yet, you know. So I don't think it's too late. I think you can start now, honey. You need to do it for our kids.
You hear that? You need to do it.
Are you going to be my accountability partner on that?
Oh, perfect.
I love it. And where do they find you? So how do they get? Do you have a how do we find you guys?
Online at legacyoflove.app is the Legacy of Love program. Of course, you can download it from the iPhone and Play Store as well. Just search for Legacy of Love. It should pop up first thing. Find us socially. Well, okay. If anyone wants to get in touch with me about Legacy of Love, you can email me at ken@legacyoflove.app. If people wanted to contact me about real estate, ken@kwnetlease.com.
It's a monster player in the greater North Texas area.
Just a monster.
Monster. And Amber, how can we find you?
Social media, Amber Wimberly. I'm on there a lot. Amber Shea Wimberly, and email amber@wimberlyre.com.
Is there a Facebook or an Instagram page or anything for Legacy of Love?
Both. Yeah.
Yes, for both.
Legacy of Love app for both. So Legacy of Love app for Instagram and Facebook. And then I'm on Facebook.
He's a public figure now. So
I am a public figure.
Really?
Wow.
But I am, at my personal account is Wimberly, or it's actually Lord Wimberly is where my name on there. Lord Wimberly.
Wow.
That's awesome.
He loves himself so much.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a stuffy, like British name. The Lord kind of makes sense in front of it.
Well, my ex-brother-in-law, it's funny how that comes about. My ex-brother-in-law, when he filled out his original American Airlines mileage application, right? They ask you, doctor, lady, Lord, all this stuff, and he clicked Lord, and they would greet him. Oh, Lord Browning, welcome. And so I thought I got such a kick out of that story when I heard it. I was like, oh, that became my original email was Lord Wimberly at Hotmail years and years ago.
Nice.
That's cool. Story. I tried to convince Pat that I should put Queen on my business cards, but he said no.
I don't believe I said no.
Yeah, you said no.
Queen of.
I put HBIC.
I don't think I have to put anything
instead.
after that. Just Queen.
Queen.
HBIC.
All right. I think that's appropriate.
You leave Queen up to the imagination. Hey, you guys, is there anything else you want to share? Patty, is there anything else you want to ask before we?
No, I already asked all the great questions.
You did. You asked a lot of great questions.
You guys rock. We love
I listen to the podcast all the time. So
it's our morning listen.
It's part of my morning routine.
She gets out of the shower, she's listening. So I'm like,
in between mommy, I need you. There's a lot of pausing that goes on.
That's perfect.
I know, nowhere is sacred. I
love it. I think you guys are doing awesome, and it's super entertaining. I love all of the questions that y'all are asking on the social media. So I try to be engaging on that for y'all.
Cool. Thank you for doing that.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
And thank you both for the Legacy of Love and everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And thanks again for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for
loved it.
Yeah.
Bye.